Good morning, my Hudson Beach friends and families and realtors. I have a listing coming up, and I've spent a lot of time watching the market for the action and the activity in the waterfront market in Hudson. And I got to tell you, I am shocked at the strength of the market. We're looking at right now, if you can see my screen, in the last 45 days, there have been 17 transactions that have sold on the water. This one in Signal Cove sold for 141,000, and then we jump up to 216, 240, 250, 300. Now normally I would go ahead and sort them by elevation, but for some reason a lot of the properties are incorrectly categorized, and realtors didn't use the button for elevated or stilt home, and it's really critical to use those two buttons. This one, they were asking 223. It sold for 216. These are all homes on the ground that flooded. This was 240, sold in 0 days at 240. 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a 2002 stilt home with 1,200 square feet. Claudia is going to be a block home, 270. They sold it for 250. It took 95 days. Beverly, a great street, 336, sold for 300. This home was probably, I don't know, 5 feet underwater, maybe. Lisa, asking 310, sold for 310. Sea Pines, 335, sold for 335. I'm telling you, the market is, well, let's say the market's dynamic, but the prices are very strong and the valuations are very 375 sold for 340. The valuations are very interesting. Hudson Beach Estates 399 sold for 350. We look at the year built, 1988. So this one has living area downstairs. If it's got living area downstairs, it's going to have the higher. Look at this one, sold over the asking price, 349, sold for 360. Likely what happened is they rolled up closing fees into it and had the seller pay them and raise the price. Keel Court, 379, sold for 365 in Signal Cove. 365 in Signal Cove. Yeah, I think the valuations, as I was talking about earlier, on the stilt homes are substantially higher than the ones on the ground. The ones on the ground are going to have the higher priced insurance. Oh, look at that floor. Wow. What did this sell for? Oh, this is Driftwood Isles. This is money for sure. 349, sold for 384. Well, there's always a story, and we don't know what the story here is, but after 297 days, they had a bidding war. I don't know. Beacon Court, and this is in Signal Cove, 424, sold for $400,000 in 35 days. These stilt homes, these elevated homes, are not going to have the same insurance as the ones on the ground. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and look at the pendings because you can't analyze the market. Well, we just did analyze the market. The market's based on the solds. That's what the real market is. Buyers determine the price, and those are the actual execution prices. Now, this went under contract in 3 days. There's two of them next door to each other. We don't know what the pricing is on this, but anything that sells in under 2 weeks means it was priced right. This one was a little bit disconcerting because it was only $150,000, and it was so nice. Small, but waterfront, boat dock, no bridge, 150 grand. When we go to the actives, you're going to see how attractive that one is in hindsight. Okay, the very next pending is $233,000. Hudson Beach, 221, 104 days on the market. 249 in Sea Ranch, 84 days, 216 days. This is a spectacular lot. The beauty of it is, the challenge of it is that if you have a seawall job, you're going to have 200 feet of seawall. It's going to cost you more than the house if you have an issue with the seawall. Big deal. If you need a seawall inspection, my buddies Johnny B and he's got a seawall company. He's in Tampa right now doing a big job for that. You know, the round building in Tampa with the two square uh, buildings at the bottom. He's putting a seawall on that right now. All right, McCrae and Cape K. This is on the correct side of the bridge. This was a short sale, 101 days. Carroll, 292, 65 days. I tell you, the flavor of the market was really good roughly 2 weeks before the war and then 2 weeks after. The last month has been, I think there's a collective angst. People don't like to make big decisions when they're feeling uncertain or unrest. And I feel like there's a lot of feelings of uncertainty and unrest. Look at this. Don Z. I sold a Don Z. I bought a Don Z for a guy and sold the Don Z for him later. $399 Hudson Beach. 2 days on the market. Oh my gosh. And this is a 322. 322 homes are the classic desirable, homogeneous, desirable home. Fourth aisle. We're up to 399. All right, 419 went pending in 143 days. So the question is what's left? And the answer is, what can I buy? What is available? What are the asking prices? So in this criteria, there's 130 properties. Now I didn't put them into, condos or mobile homes, but right now the cheapest mobile home is 100,000, then 109, then 154. This is a dramatically different, I don't know what you call it, menu of properties. This is the action in the waterfront properties is impressive. Okay, now this one, if we look at the map, let's verify before I make an observation that's incorrect. And I am correct. So this one, you have to go under the bridge at Old Dixie. It's a real challenge. I mean, if you have a pontoon boat and it doesn't have a fixed, cover, you'll be able to get under there during certain tides. Sometimes the tide will be so high that your boat won't go under the bridge. Sometimes it'll be so low and there's not enough water to go under the bridge. So this is going to be challenging Gulf access. To me, this is substandard, but it's only 100 grand. And if you've got a paddle boat and you want to go fishing, the fishing back here is great. And it's fresh water fed, which means the water is very, very clean and very clear. It's got a spring. And I'm told the name is Winn-Dixie, but if somebody out there knows if that's not correct, please post on there. It's not called Winn-Dixie, it's called, I don't know, Aldi. No, I don't know what I think it's Winn-Dixie. Okay, this is in Vista Del Mar. It's on the ground. It has been rehabbed. It's been on the market for 7 days. It's only 564 square feet. What this means, the third cheapest without any bridge. Coxswain and Signal Cove, nice wide canal, 179,000, been on the market for 10 days. Tower Drive and Signal Cove, it's a main road. Good Gulf access, though. Single wide with that, what do they call that roof? A roof over. Attractive in the sense that you don't have to worry about that old mobile home roof. All right, here we go. Vista Del Mar, 189,000. It's 900 square feet, so the price per square foot is 208 at the asking price. When you see this days on market, you can almost assume that you can make an offer. Well, you can make an offer on anything, but they're more likely to be considerate if it's got a lot of days on market. $189,000. Albatross with a boat lift and a dock. 780 square feet, been on the market for 53 days. So if you have a elevated home, it's better than all of these. So look at this, a 1-1 for 200 grand. I ponder the valuation there. Oh, here's our first condo at $205,000. Another one at $214,000. I sold one of these in the last 5 or 7 years for, I don't know what, 118 or something, 125. $219,000 on Sea Ranch. It is a main road. They did a nice job on it. Nice big living room there. Low ceiling, but 26 days on the market. $219,000. 224. And we haven't seen an elevated home yet. I recently did an analysis. I went through 173 properties that were listed, sold, or pending. And I looked physically at each listing to see if they were elevated or if they weren't, stilt homes. And what I found was 10 of those listings were incorrectly listed. They were not listed as stilt homes. And if someone came to town and they said, look, I want to buy something, but I don't want to be on the ground, you would have had to physically go through each one of the listings one by one because they just weren't categorized correctly. This is a corner lot. No, it's not. It's a quarter of a quarter, or half of a quarter, an eighth of a quarter. No, I don't think you can do math that way. Half of a quarter is an eighth, but it's still a quarter of the corner. Cape K. Every time I see Cape K, I look at the map. It is on the wrong side of the bridge because Cape K is on both sides. This is Cape K here too. So you have to be sure. You want to be on this side of the bridge. $250,000 and you're on the wrong side of the bridge. Sea Pines, great neighborhood, short sale. I got to do a video on short sales. Short sales are a whole different animal. If you're in a hurry, don't look at short sales. I have seen some short sales closed recently. And one of them was on this list. We went right by it and I didn't point it out. Judy. So here, this one's up in the air, but it was in 1986. If it's not a 1993, really September, October of 93, then it has living area downstairs. Even though it's 2 stories, the downstairs of pre-1993 homes just make it like a house on the ground. So instead of getting a $2,000 policy on an elevated home, you're going to have a $8,000 or a $12,000 policy for a home on the ground. And if you have a low price policy, and I have seen some policies that vary dramatically between insurance companies, but if you've got a great source for a flood policy, feel free to post it here. All right, Clark Street, great address, except this is, well, it was Ollie's right here, the bar, and great fun, but they have a band at night, and you may be up listening to the band when you might want to sleep. That's why you want to get a local realtor to make sure you know where the water treatment plant is and where any new developments are coming. And you buy a rural property only to find they're putting up a giant subdivision next door. Your little bit of traffic is going to be impacted by hundreds of houses and thousands of people going down your little road. It's a very, especially with Pasco County, with all the growth that's going on, it's just a dramatic growth going on in Pasco County. Signal Cove for $325,000. Port Court. Well, I like the name, Port Court. Now, the further out you go, the longer it takes to get there off of 19. But the less distance you have to go by boat to get out to the Gulf. So it's a trade-off. Do you want to ride down canals endlessly to the Gulf, or do you want to get a quick ride in your car? Vista Del Mar is generally mobile homes. And this might very well be one that they've turned into a house-looking thing. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. 106 days on the market for $327,000. You got to ponder the idea of buying in a mobile home neighborhood for $300,000. All right, Fair Lane. This is a good canal. This is a tiny little house. You can launch your boat, though. I just can't imagine paying $330,000 for 800 square foot property, 2 bedroom, 1 bath on the ground, but it is cute. Pleasure Isles, Leisure Beach, and that's Fourth Isle. Look at Fourth Isle. Fourth Isle is so getting out. You come out here, you go here, you got to go around. You go here, you come back, you go over, and then you go out this canal. But if you can get on Fifth Isle, you could have Gulf views. Hey, I'm Randy Jenkins. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, if you want to follow my current content, go to Randal Jenkins, Florida Real Estate Partners. I put out my content every day. Appreciate you watching. Have a great day.